All right, all right, all right. How are you guys doing tonight or this morning? Good morning. I might as well say good morning because it's already 2 o'clock in the morning. And you're like, what are you doing up this late, this early in the morning? Well, I just wanted to bring to you guys the Parish Files. I wanted to do a small interview with you guys, talk a little bit about what the Parish Files is going to be about because Thursday is its debut. It premieres on Thursday at 8 o'clock here on this channel, the Parish Files channel. Definitely, you guys subscribe and follow us here. Please give me some attention. Yes, 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 yes. And I hope the intro, you guys, that was actually the intro that you got a chance to look at. You see. So I hope this gets your blood curling. Okay. To want to see more about what's going on. As you can see, the setting is from the 70s. So I kind of did the story. If you don't know me, first and foremost, I need to introduce myself, right? I am Salida. I am the writer and producer, the creator of this. I call it a micro mini series, okay? Um, but I brought this to you guys because I have this love for unsolved mysteries, unsolved crimes, um, unsolved murders. Always have been a big thing for me. Even as a little girl, I love to read those type of things, excited about those things. So I thought I would bring it into the book. This is not my first book. I've actually read several, I've written several books, but this is one that's directly dealing with this. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to get some questions answers because I know, there's questions out there. They want to know more about why I did this. Um, I am in Louisiana, so I am not writing this from just something I learned. I live in Louisiana. My mom is actually a Louisianian. I'm not, but she is, or she was. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about why I really wanted to do this. I am excited, you guys. You have no idea how excited I am, but I am excited. So I am hoping this all turned out the way that I wanted to. So, so while we're here, real quick, so I'm not going to take up a lot of your time because I just want to, I want you guys just to know that it's out there. And please, again, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I need subscriptions to this channel to keep it going. Okay. Um, so let's get into the questions. And I don't want to get too much about who I am. I'm telling you who I am right now, but I don't want to get so caught up on me. This is not about me, okay? I want you to understand this is not about me. This is about the characters in the. Let me see if I can move this down. There we go. I'm gonna have to put a pillow in my chair because I feel like I'm not high enough. But anyway, so we're gonna we're gonna talk about we're gonna ask me some questions because there were some questions that was because some people are curious but some people are like why are you doing this, right? But this has always been a love, and I always feel like this as a writer. I don't care what it is that you want to write about it, write about it. Don't feel like everybody has to pay attention to what you're doing. Do not feel like everybody has got to like what you write. Just write. Substack taught me that. To just write. Just write. If it's something you want to do, write it. So this is what I did. So this was actually a baby of me and a friend of mine. And just I was so anxious to do it. I went on my portion of it and turned it into this mini series. Um, I don't know when she'll be available to do her portion, but I wanted to do mine. I just wanted it out there because if I don't, I'll forget it and then I'll put it to the side. But the more and more I was thinking about, it, I said, you know what, this would be a great mini series because I was actually going to do it a whole nother way. But just like I said, something kept telling me to go ahead, do it this way. They're like pushing me, right? Right? So let's go ahead and ask some of the questions. So again, I don't want you guys to think this is about me. This is not about me. I am just the creator. I want you guys to get focused on the Parish files. Okay. So the question, number one question was, where did the original idea for the Parish files come from? Remember, I told you the unsolved shadow mysteries, excuse me, the unsolved shadow murders of Louisiana was a baby of me and someone else. Okay, I told you that already. My portion I turned into a mini series because we kind of broke it down, and my portion I wanted to turn into a mini series, and that's the reason why I did that. You guys see me looking down here. My camera's up there. I don't know why I keep doing that. So that's where it actually came from, and I think it was awesome. So the other question is, why are Southern Gothic so people are so impressed by that? I think it's the darkness. I think it's the mystery. I think it's the ooh, what's around the corner. I think that's what it is. And when you say Southern, you think New Orleans, right? And you know, New Orleans is very Gothic, right? Portions of it is, and the mixture of the darkness, the Gothic, and the vampire and the mysterious, all those things mixed into one. And you're talking about the hoodoo and voodoo and all that all together. I think that's what people are so fascinated with when it comes to talk talk talking about Southern Gothic. Okay, what drew you toward stories involving unsolved cases and hidden patterns? Well, for me, because I have not worked directly on them, but well, I have worked directly on them. Why am I not saying that? Because of my background in investigative um, reporting and interviewing, I love trying to solve something. I don't think everything should be closed unless it's actually solved, right? Um, or cold. Let me say that. I don't think everything. I think from my long term of watching different cases, unsolved cases, cold cases. I think a lot of them could have been already solved. I think that from the bottom of my heart, always have. My investigative discovery channel, watching that all the time, any type of documentary dealing with unsolved cases, cold cases, always has been a fascination for me. So, and I just feel like a lot of cases could have been solved. They would have been solved if the right people would have done what they were supposed to do. And sometimes our mind is, I believe if they would give me a couple of cases, I probably could solve them. But I could never do that because I'm not in there. And that was what I believe I could solve them. If they give them to me and I really break them down, I believe I could solve some cases. But hey, I don't have that privy to some of those cases. But that's why. And I've always been a lover of that type, true crimes, um, crime stories, cold cases, like I said earlier. All those things always have been a fascination to me. How did you decide on the tone and pacing of the series? Breaking it down, how did I? Because we have 64 parishes here. So Our story is based off of probably about between 20 and 30 parishes. So breaking them down that way was better for me, to break down my episodes in that way, opposed to trying to do all of them at one time, because that can be cumbersome and that's a lot of work. So I didn't want the episodes to be fixed like they have to all come together at one time. I wanted them to have their own story. Each episode have their own story. So the first episode is the first 10. That's why it's called 10 Murders, 10 Unsolved Cases, 10 Women, 10 Murders. Is because it starts out with 10. So that was one of the reasons why I did it that way, so that you wouldn't be cumbersome with all of that information and having to feel like I got to solve all this, right? If you were thinking. And that's where it came from. And I want every episode to bring you something more to that episode. And I want you to pay attention to the victims, because the victims are going to, I, I'm 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 looking at it from the standpoint of not just having the victims happen in that episode. I want the victims to come up into other episodes too, like a memory of that victim, or I want all that to happen at the same time. So I don't want to that's why the overload was not something I wanted to do, kind of put them all together, right? Um, there is going to be, I didn't answer this question because I haven't brought that person up. So I'm not going to answer that question. So we're going to skip that question because I haven't brought that person up yet. So how do fear and silence shape the atmosphere of Louisiana in this series? Um, how does okay? Let's see, how do I answer that one? How do fear and silence shape the atmosphere of Louisiana in this series? Because Louisiana is very mysterious. When you look at the background, the history of Louisiana, it has, excuse me, it has that atmosphere about it. It has that mysteriousness about it. It has that deep dark. When you talk about swamps and bayous, right? And you talk about um, uh, the whispering willow trees and the moss hanging down. I'm kind of putting it together I showed you at the beginning. All of those things make Louisiana like what's behind the corner and what's coming up out of the water and what's behind the hill or what's in the bayou, right? Or what's in the river, you know, the big trees, the cypress trees, what's around the tree. So all of those things make Louisiana sit out. We talk about deep, dark highways. All of that plays a role in how you can shape what you see in Louisiana. And I think that's what's going to make the series very, very, very ongoing, because I want to make sure that's there. You guys know we're talking Louisiana. There is no other state built like Louisiana, created like Louisiana, born like Louisiana, and have as many mysterious, the mysteriousness about it, all of that, the culture, all of it plays a part in how Louisiana is shaped, right? So that's the um, that's what shapes it. That's what makes it the way it is, right? So what challenges come with telling a story involving multiple victims? So what challenges come is creating. So when you're talking creating multiple victims, you want to make sure there has to be something in common with these victims in order for the story to develop. So what is it that the common ground of these victims? And you will find out. One thing for sure, they're all young. And remember, when we talk about patterns, or when we talk about having multiple victims, because Louisiana being a state of 64, which you guys would call counties, in some places we call them parishes. So having 64, which is a lot, having it spread across the state is a lot. But I think in order to keep the story on that the road that I was taking it on, it needed multiple victims in order for me to develop the story the way that I wanted to. It needed that. Um, and that was very important for me. Okay. So why do you think viewers become emotionally attached to unsolved resolved mysteries? Oh, I don't know. I think when you have like I said earlier, for me, I love to solve things. I'm a problem solver. So cold cases and stuff, I I love it. I think I could solve some real ones. I really do. I think I could solve some real ones. It might be dangerous for me, but I really believe I can do it. Um, yeah, I think I can. So, um, so why? Because I think viewers are like me. I think viewers are most people who think alike, who have that common ground. That's going to happen, and I think people are fascinated by unsolved things, just like I am. So I think that's what that is. So, how much of the storytelling is about the system versus the crimes themselves? Um, let's see. How much of it? How much is the story? Let's see. I think there's going to be a lot of it in the storytelling. The idea that the system seems to, and this is why they're all cold case files, because I think the system, and I guess you will find that out, that the system, it just seems like the system could have worked deeper. The system could have worked on some stuff. The system could have did this and it didn't do it. And I think that's going to be vital in the story. And you're going to figure out, and you're going to see as we go further, like when we talk about episode 2 and 3, you'll see like why they're gonna try, I guess, would attempt to, but are they gonna actually come to a conclusion where the system actually works? Don't know. I'm just gonna leave that up to you. Um, so, and then when it comes to the crimes themselves happening, that's why the kind of crimes keep happening, because the system doesn't seem like it's catching up. The system could be overwhelmed, um, and the system is not connecting to each other. So that could be a problem. The communication is not being produced. So that could be a problem for the whole thing, right? For the whole thing. So the next question is, what roles does sound and design and narration play in creating tension? It plays a major part, a very major part in telling a story, especially when you're telling a story. All those things have to be on point in order for the vibe to be there, for people to want to know, okay, what happened next? What happened next? So what happened here? What happened there? All of that plays a part. So yeah, that is very, very important. Um, so those design and narration plays a big part. How we're putting this together, and the narrator has to have that voice. Has to have that voice in order, because the story can be told by anybody. But if you want the story told where it touches everybody, then you have to have the right narration. Okay, so that's very, very important. So it says, what emotions were you trying to tap into while creating episode 1? Um, um, I think that's a question I can answer after. I'm going to answer that question after. We look. I'm gonna I'm gonna answer that question afterwards. Okay. Now, um, so one another question Louisiana. Why did I choose Louisiana? Because I'm from here. I mean, I live here. Um, as a setting for the mystery story, and because Louisiana is full of mystery. That it is. It's full of the. We already talked about that part, right? They said, "What makes the Parish Files different from traditional true crime content?" Um, because it's me. Okay, it's me talking about it. That's why. No, just kidding. I think the depth. I think um some of the miscommunication that is not happening during this going on and why these cases become cold cases. So I think the ideal that no one is connecting dots, even though they should have, but they haven't. And I think that's what makes it. Um, and it's not a quick let's go ahead and solve this type of story. That's what I think. What makes it different. Was there a particular moment when the story really came alive for you? Yes, it was. Um, the story, well, it hasn't happened yet, so I can't really talk about that one. So I'm gonna have to leave that one there because I can't really talk about that because that's in another episode. We hadn't talked about that. It says, why focus on multiple victims across different parishes? Because then it makes the story more interesting. Because we're talking from 1970 to 1978. So that's 8 years, right? So um, when you think about a serial killer, a serial killer doesn't do it all at one time, right? Some of them don't. Um, when you talk about, okay, for instance, the Zodiac killer, um, he stopped, got cleaned up, did something nice, and didn't do it again, right? If I'm not mistaken. Um, so this span of time, 8 years is a long time to have so many cold cases, right? So there could be possibility that something could got gotten solved, but if there's no communication between the parishes, then that they will be continue being um, those cold cases. So having multiple, to me, it brings excitement to the story. What's next? Who's next? You know, that whole looking for the next person that this is going to happen to. What parish is it going to be in? You know, how close is that parish to the other parish that it already happened in? You know, so yeah, so that's the reason why to me I thought focusing on more than one parish and it's part of the book. It was going to all of this was going to happen anyway because that was the whole basis of the story. Finding someone who's actually doing these murders, right? Um, how important is atmosphere in your storytelling? Or atmosphere, especially for this type of story, is very, very important. Very important. The atmosphere has to be part of the story, and you will see that. Okay, you will see that, especially in episode 2. Okay. Um. Okay. So, what themes does the series explore beyond the murder themselves? Okay. The theme is you're going to figure out that there is going to be a lot of headbutting, a lot of egos. You're going to see a lot of arrogance happening in here. These are the, when I say, I shouldn't say they're themes, but these are the things that are going to be happening in here. Um, and this is where the disconnect comes. And this is why these cases become cold cases because nobody is putting two and two together. Nobody, well, there's going to be some people, but it's going to be almost like we got to do this before the next one. But they don't know when the next one is. That's the crazy part. Well, that's not the crazy part. That's how it works. They don't know when the next one is. So they're trying to, not to say during the time of these murders that people are not trying to solve them. They just don't have anything. And again, what they had then, they don't have now. I mean, what they have now, don't they didn't have back then. So it was easy to say a cold case, and that's why I believe a lot of old cases I probably could solve, um, just by gathering the information. But I think because they didn't have all everything like it was supposed to be, they were not able to do it. So so these cases became cold because nobody had the answers, and nobody didn't do the deep dive. And if they did do the deep dive, it won't be in episode one. I'll just say that much. Why do you think unsolved mysteries fascinate people so deeply? Again, the reason why I feel like they fascinate people so deeply is because people love to solve problems. That's what I think it is. People love to solve problems, and people have probably a relatable feeling toward the victims, right? Someone in their family probably they lost that person, and no one ever know what happened to them. So I think that has a lot to do with our personal experiences with unsolved crimes and the idea that we love solving things. We want things to be whole, right? Or be able to close them and not leave them as cold cases. What kind of emotional experience do you want viewers to have while watching? Oh Lord, I want them to have sympathy for the victims and be angry for them for the cases going cold. That's what I basically want. Okay. Was it important for the series to feel realistic rather than overly dramatic? Yes. And I definitely hope that's what I'm bringing to you guys. I didn't want it to sound like a, I'll use the scenario plug and play. I wanted these people to be, I wanted all the victims to be real victims. I wanted people to pay attention to them. I wanted, um, I wanted things to happen that made them everyday people. So that is what I wanted, and I thought that was important. What role does Louisiana culture and landscape play in the series? Again, what did I just say? The the mysterious, the culture, the darkness, the bayous, all of that. Yes, that plays a major part in it. That's the reason why it's named the Unsolved Shadow Murders of Louisiana, the Parish Files. Okay. Um, Without spoilers, what should viewers expect from episode two? Viewers should expect a lot more from, with episode one being the foundation, the cake itself. Inside the cake, sometimes you put a filling inside the cake, right? The filler. So episode two is going to be the filler. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. We got the cake, now we're gonna put the filler in the inside. We're gonna carve it out and put the filler in the inside. That's what you expect from episode two. That's all I'm gonna tell you. What detail in episode one do you like viewers might over do you think might overlook viewers might overlook? There's a question. Let's see. I think they're going to overlook the the ideal. No, maybe they won't. I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that one. Hmm. I don't know if I can answer that one. They're gonna overlook. If viewers leave with one feeling after watching the Parish File, what do you hope it is? I hope You guys want to be eager to see episode 2. That's what I'm expecting from you guys. Yes, I'm hoping you're going to want to see episode 2. So I'm gonna leave it at that. How about that? You like that? Okay. That's what I want. But no. So that is the interview or the questions that were asked, and I wanted to share that with you guys. Please, you guys, and I'm not I'm saying in the way, subscribe to this channel. I'm excited. Um, I can't wait. Thursday night at 8 o'clock, we will be here and we'll be watching it hopefully together if everything works out. Um, Hopefully I don't be late because you know what? I definitely gotta. I won't be because I'm gonna have to do a pre. I totally forgot about that. But anyway, June 11th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we shall be talking about the Parish Files, and it will be premiering. So it's going to be premiering, and I hope you guys going to really, really enjoy it because I'm going to be watching it with you, and I do want the feedback. So I'm looking forward to you guys watching it with me. Okay? So, see you guys later. Bye bye.